Welcome, adventurers. Would you like to play a character as cursed as my dice always seem to be? Do you basically want to be the Nat 1 of character build options? If so, then you have no other choice than to play as the Oracle. Welcome to Rebel Then King. Today we're talking about the spellcasting wildcard of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the Oracle. As always, let's start with the basics of the class. The Oracle is a charisma-based spellcaster with training in simple weapons. They have light armor proficiency and 8 hit points per level, and they are trained into a number of skills equal to 3 plus their intelligence modifier. Their subclass system is called their mysteries, and there's a lot going on in the mysteries. The mysteries give you a unique focus spell, and they also give you a curse. The curse will give you some benefits as well as some drawbacks. So let's start diving into that now. So an Oracle gains access to spellcasting through a mystery. The mystery is something that is sort of, hexed or cursed upon you, and it's a little bit innate, a little bit not, and it does a couple of different things, both mechanically, but it also does a lot for the gameplay, the roleplay, and the flavor of the class. I think the Oracle actually has maybe the most flavor and roleplay hooks of any class in the system due to the way these curses work. But first, a little bit about the mechanics. The first thing you will do is you will gain access to a unique focus spell. This is called your Revelation spell. When you use your Revelation spell, your curse begins. Now, the curses come in multiple stages that increase each time you use this Revelation spell. You start at the minor and then move up to the moderate stage. But if you refocus to gain a focus point back, you do lessen the degree of the curse. And I'm actually curious as to how this will work out with the Pathfinder 2nd Edition remaster. Some of the rules about refocusing and regaining focus points have been changed and simplified, and I wonder what that will do to this class that was so heavily focused on using focus spells and having the effects of the focus spell change the way that your character sort of fundamentally works. I think that this will have a big impact on the way oracles behave in the system. And as far as the curses go, mechanically speaking, they are a mixed bag. They will give you some debuffs as well as buffs. Again, a lot of flavor is really baked into the way that these work. For example, as the Tempest mystery, you will have a minor stage where you have a weakness to electricity, but you do have the ability to put out small non-magical fires. As that curse increases, so will your weakness to electricity, but you gain resistance to fire damage, and there's this sort of cool effect because you are swirling in a storm, that any ranged attack you make or any ranged attack coming in at you suffers a -2 penalty. With some of the other mysteries, you kind of start with a bad thing only at the first stage of the curse, but then you gain access to some special abilities as you progress through the curse. For example, as the Cosmos mystery at the level 1, the minor stage of your curse, you are enfeebled and you have a -2 penalty to your saves and DCs against being grappled and shoved and forced movement. As you progress along, you're more enfeebled, and that penalty goes up to -3, but you do gain access to powerful leap and quick jump. So you're very frail, but you have great movement abilities that are added. So it really is very flavorful and has some pretty impactful mechanics. And I do want to take another moment to talk about all of the roleplay hooks that are associated with these mysteries. Yes, there are mechanical advantages and disadvantages that they offer, but I almost think that a lot of the allure of the Oracle is in this roleplay. For example, there's the Ancestor Curse. You literally have your ancestors fighting for control of your actions in your head. think about that roleplay potential. You could come up with a different voice for each one of them. You also have really evocative imagery, like the Curse of Engulfing Flames, where you are shrouded in ash and flame. Yes, there's some concealed properties that are going on there. The mechanics are important, but I think it's really about the roleplay here. And maybe it is this roleplay that you should use to help you pick out the perfect Oracle mystery for you, because I find the mechanics to be a little difficult, at least for me, to settle upon. And that's because there are a lot of things that are packaged into your mystery selection. You get that focus spell, and then you get the curse. But the curse has multiple stages, and multiple things happen at each stage of the curse. So there's sort of a lot of riding on that one initial decision. And that can make it a little hard to pick a mystery. For example, you might really like the focus spell, but not like the curse. You might like the curse, but not like the focus spell. Maybe you're kind of ambivalent on the focus spell, and you really dislike one stage of the curse, but really like another stage of it. Well, it's all packaged together, so you've got to find something that, on average, suits your needs. And I almost think this might be a little bit too much packaged into just the singular subclass selection. I almost wonder if there would be some sub-options within there, or class feats, or something else to help you slightly fine-tune the mechanics of your Oracle build just a little bit, so that there wasn't so much riding on that one initial choice. And when it comes to the mechanics of the Oracle, well, there is really, really a lot going on. We've talked about the mechanics already, I know, but we should really focus in and sort of let it be known how complex this class can be. Again, you have a curse that has multiple stages, and there are multiple things happening at each stage. And some of those things carry through and just increase or decrease in value. Sometimes they're dropped, sometimes new things are added. And all of this happens in addition to all of the buffs, debuffs, chaos of a Pathfinder encounter, which is already sometimes a lot to keep track of. I think that this means that sometimes the Oracle curses have either a tendency to just be sort of missed and ignored, or the mechanics could actually drag down your gameplay just a bit. For example, I'm going to read just one of the stages of the Time Oracle's curse, and I want you to think about what it would be like to either memorize this or even pull it up or read it and interpret it during an encounter. Ready? Moderate curse. Time distorts further, increasing your muscular atrophy, age regression, or warping while making effects pass you by at an increased rate. The value of your enfeebled condition increases to 2, and the penalty from your minor curse increases to -3. Your status bonus to AC against attacks made against you from reactions or free actions while you're moving increases to +2. In addition, spells affecting you last less time. The duration is reduced by half to a minimum of 1 round. This doesn't reduce the spell's duration for other targets affected by the same spell. Finally, all non-permanent conditions affecting you that have a duration measured in rounds, minutes, or hours have the duration reduced by half to a minimum of 1 round. Any afflictions, such as poisons, diseases, and curses, affecting you have their maximum duration, onset time, and time for each stage reduced by half. Spells, conditions, and afflictions that last until your next daily preparations last for 12 hours or until your next daily preparations, whichever comes first. This doesn't change the duration you're temporarily immune, the rate at which you can use abilities that have a frequency, or any other features based on the passage of time. That's one of 3 stages. That is so much text to read. Now, granted, there's sort of a theme there. It's time, so you could kind of think, for the most part, when something has to do with time, it gets cut in half. But you'd still want to look this up and double check every time the time is time. Whew. Okay, but what about the upside of these mechanics. We've already said that the roleplay is good, but what about the mechanical benefits themselves? Let's take a look at those now. I think the Battle Oracle has a really good example of a curse that is maybe a minor penalty at first, but then turns into a pretty big bonus. First of all, I think that the focus spell is really cool, the revelation spell. It's actually a reaction that you use while rolling initiative. So that's nice. You're going to use it every time, presumably, and you don't have to use any actions during the encounter to use this revelation spell and activate your curse. At that first stage, at the minor stage, well, you have a -2 penalty to your AC, but that penalty does go away if you make a strike during that turn. That's really cool. It really informs the playstyle that you should be pursuing as a Battle Oracle. As you progress, well, that penalty to your AC doesn't totally go away even if you make a strike, so that's a bit negative. But you do get 2 extra points of damage on a strike, and you gain access to fast healing. I think that more than offsets that penalty. And there are other really cool examples of things you can lean into and really use some positive mechanics to your advantage. The Bones Oracle, for example, has some really good benefits, some protection against diseases and poisons, which as a PC can be absolutely brutal, so being guarded against those is really, really valuable. The Life Oracle, first of all, grants you extra HP, which is really, really, that's super handy. And then it gives you an ability to redirect some of the damage that an ally takes into yourself. That's why you have that extra HP. And that's cool. You're kind of standing at the background and helping your allies stay alive. The Lore Oracle has a really wicked focus spell that does mental damage and allows you to recall knowledge while casting it. I love that combination. And then some of the revelation spells are really, really awesome. I like the Tempest Touch revelation spell. Okay, it does 1d4 bludgeoning, 1d4 cold, and has the ability to impose a speed penalty on the target, and it's only 1 action. With these mechanical advantages and disadvantages that you get from your curses, you really do want to make sure you read them, understand them, and in some cases either lean into them or protect yourself against them. For example, using that Bones Oracle that we just talked about, well, the protection against the diseases is great, but you do gain the Drained condition. That's going to affect your Constitution-based saves as well as your overall HP. This means you probably want to play as a character that has a pretty decent constitution. Maybe you pick an ancestry like Dwarf that will have that constitution boost. That's an example of protecting yourself a little bit against the curse that has some disadvantages that it's imposing against you. All right, adventurers, I feel like I'm going to call it there, even if that's a little bit short. I feel like going through just one of these mysteries in full detail would be overwhelming. It is a very complex class. There's a lot going on with the mechanics in it, but there are also a lot of rewards to be found if you're looking for them. That being said, I do sometimes wonder if the bonuses offered to you by the curses really offset the penalties or whether it even really matters. I question whether it matters because sometimes some of the curses, some of the mechanics they offer are rather niche, meaning it might not come up in your typical encounter all that often. Therefore, maybe it really is more about the roleplay, at least with some of the mysteries. If you are going to lean into the mechanics, there is quite a lot there, and that's why I say that this class might be best reserved just for advanced players only. For all of these reasons, I'm going to give the Oracle just a 5 out of 10 curses hexed upon thee for not carrying an old lady up a mountain or something like that. But I know there are a lot of people out there who really, really like the Oracle. I've seen some comments on my other videos that were actually saying, oh, the Oracle is my favorite class. So if you are one of those people, if you really like the Oracle, help me out here. How did you make that initial decision to choose your mystery? Was it more about the mechanics? Was it more about the roleplay? Was it a little of both? Until then, Maybe someone could make like a modified character sheet of some sort to help keep track of the various stages of your oracle, like a pin the curse on the oracle kind of a thing. Think about it. It could help.